This lecture is going to go over the information from Chapter 5, which covers ethics and protecting our participants. And we're not going to cover everything from Chapter 5. I'm going to discuss two main things in this lecture. One is to discuss scholarly ethics, and I want to tell you how we protect participants if you're going to conduct a study. We're going to discuss specifically the procedures that we do here at Fresno Pacific University. Scholarly ethics. The main issue that we have, or can have, here at Fresno Pacific and most universities is plagiarism. I have made, or I've placed a couple course announcements about plagiarism. Hopefully you've read those already. Simply stated, plagiarism is using other people's information as your own. You don't cite the information, or you cite the information incorrectly, is considered plagiarism. It can be intentional, meaning that you have copied and pasted stuff that you found in an article or online, pasted into your paper, never cited it. That's intentional plagiarism. Or it can be unintentional plagiarism, meaning that you also took information from a book, a journal article, or whatever. You cited it, but you did not cite it correctly. It was word for word. You just placed the in-text citation, but you never used quotation marks and never provided the page numbers for the citation. That is also plagiarism. It is inappropriate citations. This is a critical issue. It's one of the reasons I harp on following APA and citing your sources. It is required for you to learn APA and to cite your sources throughout your graduate program. That's why I say in the second bullet point, cite your references. It is expected that you have multiple citations throughout papers in this graduate program. You are not the expert at this point. The experts are those who have been conducting research and they have years and years of experience behind them. As I've said in the literature review lecture, we have to use good quality references or resources, primary resources and secondary resources for the material in our graduate program. Hopefully you won't be caught plagiarizing, because that's a bad thing. The first time if you are caught plagiarizing, you'll get a 0 on that assignment, whatever that assignment may be. If you get caught a second time, you may get a fail the course. Third time, you may be excused, kicked out of the program. So if you're unsure of what to do, please ask. I'm here to help you with this type of stuff, but it is your responsibility to learn how to cite correctly following APA. That is an expectation of this graduate program. Typically with our signature assignments, I don't know how many of our faculty are doing it, but I know in my courses I do ask you to turn in your assignments using turnitin.com for the again, for the signature assignment in this course. You will be using turnitin.com. What turnitin.com does is you turn in your paper there. It has a collection of millions of papers throughout the world, and it compares your paper to all the different other papers that it has, and it also goes through the internet and sees how much of your paper is original. Now, if you get some stuff that's flagged, what I typically do is I go in there and review it, and if you've cited it and you cited it correctly, it's no longer an issue because you have correctly cited it. and you have given the people the credit for the work that they have done. So that is okay. Now, if you didn't give the people a credit, now that's an issue. And then now we're talking about plagiarism. So I really don't have to deal with this. It's an issue that shouldn't be an issue. It's something that you should work diligently and making sure that you give the credit to the people that have done the work. And that includes our textbook. You should cite our textbook or any other textbook in the courses that you're taking. The next part of protecting subjects or ethics in research studies is what's called the Institutional Review Board. And most universities do have what's called IRB, Institutional Review Board. And what the IRB is set up for is to protect any individuals that are in studies, research studies, to make sure that they are not being manipulated, being hurt, those type of things. Where this came out of is during World War II in Nazi Germany, and here in the United States, not too before World War II, people were being mistreated pretty badly. There's some pretty nasty stuff that researchers were doing, and the subjects in the study didn't have any rights. They didn't know that they can quit the study because they were being manipulated. That's the critical thing with Institutional Review Board research, is that subjects in the study always have to have the right to stop the study at any time. So we do have IRB here, and as the time that I'm recording this announcement, or this lecture, I am the chair for the IRB at Fresno Pacific. And so we have specific procedures here at the university. I do have a link, and the reason why I have a link is because we're always changing the procedure, and hopefully this procedure won't change too much, but we do have a link there. So the steps typically for IRB at our university, and it's pretty consistent throughout the country, is we have an application. We currently have a Microsoft Word application, but we're moving towards a web-based application, where an application we ask all the details about the study. What's the purpose of your study, or what's the title of the study, and the name of the researcher, what school is it associated with, who's your research advisor. Then we ask detailed information about the specific study itself, the research question, who are the subjects, how are you going to protect the subjects, and all those type of things. It's pretty extensive. Then we also ask if a person is applying for IRB, that typically means that their subjects are human people in the study. So we ask for an informed consent form. Basically, what the informed consent form tells each person in the study is what they should expect to happen to them during the study. Anything bad that can happen to them, like if in a lot of areas in our area it can be a muscle strain, or if they're just doing a questionnaire at just time. Most of the studies are pretty low risk, but you still have to inform them of the risk that's associated with the study, how much time they should expect to take in the study, a basic overview of their procedures for the study, what they are expected to do during the study, and then also that they can quit the study at any time, and there's no harm for doing that. So it's pretty straightforward form. These forms can either be signed by the subject, depends on the study. If it's like a survey, like SurveyMonkey or those type of things, it's typically what we call an implied consent. They have a statement there on the SurveyMonkey, And if the person says, yeah, I want to do the study, it's implied by completing the survey that they have given their consent. But they still have to read the consent and then give their approval to do this. Now, for individuals younger than 18, they have to have their parent or guardian sign the form. It can't be an implied consent there. The individual actually, the parent or the guardian has to sign the form for the child. Another thing that we require at FPU is letter of permission from the place where the study is being done. We do a lot of educational research here, so we have a lot of teachers that are doing research in their classroom, so we ask for an email or an actual letter from the principal or whatever the school requires for research being done at their school site. Some schools, K-12 schools, have some kind of IRB procedures there too, so they have to get that approved there. Or if it's at a hospital, they have to get the hospital's permission. Means that the hospital has to, the research has to be approved at the hospital's IRB, and then I need that turned in to me before they get FPU's approval. Another thing that we require is copies of the questionnaire, letters to subjects, any kind of instrument that is being used for the study. Now, obviously, if somebody is going to be using a weight scale for their research, they're not going to actually turn in a weight scale, but there has to be some kind of description of the different instruments that will be used for the study. And again, here at FPU, most of our research is questionnaires. But in our area, in kinesiology, it can actually be a little bit more than just questionnaires. It can be, like I said, skin fold calipers or a weight scale or something like that. And so in our area, it's going to be typically just a description of what that is. And for the student, once a student has completed the IRB and all those other things, they have to send it over to the research advisor. The research advisor needs to approve it by reading the information, and then the research advisor actually emails all the information. It's typically in a PDF file or a Word file, emails that to our IRB email account, and from there it's a whole nother procedure that it's more than you really want to know. But the person cannot start collecting data until the IRB committee has approved the study. The IRB committee reviews all the information, and what we review it for is for the protection of the human subjects. Is the study designed in such a way that all the subjects in the study will be protected? They won't be harmed. And once the IRB says yes, the student or the faculty member, if a faculty member is doing a research study, is informed that IRB approves, and then they can start collecting data. Now, for somebody who's doing a thesis, how this would work, even though students aren't required to do a thesis or a research study project in this graduate program, if a student outside of our kinesiology program and another master's program was doing a thesis or a research study, it's typically due when their Chapter 3 rough draft or their Chapter 3 is due for that particular course, because Chapter 3 is the research methods chapter. And so once that chapter is turned in, they would also turn in all this IRB information to the research advisor at that point. So the research advisor can make sure that it looks correct before it is sent on to the IRB committee. Again, the whole idea of all this stuff is to protect any subjects that are in the study, to make sure it's safe for them. And we are doing the things that are ethical and right for each person in the study.